The shit I make is timeless and I'm constantly reminded. From here on out, it's only pluses and it's never minus. Until they see me on their timeline, they never mind it. Everybody on it now, they want to get behind it. Still great even after when I close my eyelids.
Welcome to the Ikeconic Podcast, where seeing is believing and dreaming is achieving. Today we have none other than Miss Buy and Sell, Miss Fix and Flip, Ashley Superville. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. How is the weather on your end?
You know, everything's always sunshine, blue skies,
Okay,
birds chirping.
So what is, tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you come from,
Okay.
what you do, how you got to this point right now in your life.
Okay, so I'm originally from Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
Was there for, my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad was actually born and raised in D.C. So we
Okay.
swapped as we've,
Mm-hmm.
become adults, I guess. That's how that works.
So is he in Oakland?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
still there.
Oh, wow.
So it's weird. I didn't grow up with any family. It was literally like my dad and my mom just chose a random city to just move
Wow.
to and start a family. So that was different for me.
Where's your mom from?
She's from Wisconsin.
Oh my God, that's random as hell.
Yes.
Have you been to Wisconsin before?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She lives in Minnesota now. Like, my life is
That's
all
crazy.
over the place. Yes. So I traveled. Like, I grew up traveling. I was always interested in real estate.
Mhm.
I moved a lot as a child. So that's like, honestly, that's what piqued my interest as a very small child. So on and so forth. I went to school in LA. Then I lived in Atlanta for some time. I was a flight attendant. I flew out of
Really?
Miami. Yes.
Dang. So you're not afraid of heights at
No,
all?
I'm
Okay.
not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of flying. You're actually more likely to get in
A car accident
Yes.
than statistically, but statistics, you can skew them any which way. So.
You can. It's not the turbulence. All it is like takeoff and landing.
Uh-huh.
So just get to 10,000 feet and
And
then
you're
get
good.
below 10,000 feet. Those
Okay.
are the only two times you need to be a little bit weary. Everything
Interesting.
else is like,
I'm going to keep that in mind because the turbulence be getting to me nowadays. I used to be really good at just like, I used to love flying, but now when the planes start rocking a little bit, I start looking to my left and my right. I look at the flight attendant and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to put it in God's hands. So
yeah, no, you're fine. It's just like a change in air pressure. Like it's not even a big deal at all.
yeah. So growing up, you traveled a lot. So what was your favorite city, or like what was your favorite spot that you were living in?
So living wise, I would say the Bay Area.
Okay.
I'm from Oakland. I grew up in like on the Berkeley side of things. There's no other place like it. It's just the people, the culture.
Yeah.
It's not a transplant city. Most people are
Through and through.
Yes, they're born, raised, grandma, aunties, cousins, all of that. So that was always cool to see. And then also, growing up, I went to school in Berkeley. It's one of the most diverse places. I'm mixed. My mom's white, my dad's black. So it was always great for me to be able to connect to other people and different cultures. Like, I didn't feel like an outcast because most of my friends were mixed too,
Yeah.
So
That's pretty
it
dope.
was cool, yeah.
So how did you get into real estate? So you said you traveled a lot growing up. You moved to a lot of different places and it piqued your interest. But what about real estate really stuck out to you that made you want to hop into that career field?
Right. So when I was a flight attendant, I always used to just read different articles. I would watch TV. I'd always be in a hotel on a layover somewhere doing something.
Yeah.
I was international, so oftentimes I would be in countries where I didn't speak the language.
Wow.
I didn't want to go out by myself.
Yeah.
So I was just always watching TV. So long story short, I got into real estate that way. My dad actually has a construction company. So not only did I move a lot, but I got to see how, things
Houses
work.
are built and things of that nature.
All
yeah.
that, yeah. So one day I was like, you know what? I want a career change. I know I don't want to travel too much. I'm tired of being on tour. It was like, it got to be a lot for me. So I actually just applied for a job with an architect in downtown Bethesda. I ended up talking to him and we hit it off. He was just like a great person. He's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met, like to this day. So he's crazy. He's licensed in several different states, countries, and vicinities. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in real estate for?
So I started in 2015. So about 6 years.
Okay, cool. So how has the real estate market changed from 2015 to where we're at now?
Oh my God, so much has changed. Yes. So I worked for an architect. I was a development associate, and then I worked my way up to being a developer manager. I did inside sales for him. I also saw like a very diverse portfolio from condos, townhouses, new construction homes, large scale apartment buildings, down to just like really high priced luxury, modern, $3 million, whatever in Bethesda. So that was cool. Since from then to now, things changed. I helped transition a neighborhood. I helped sell some of the first condo projects that came to Brookland in Northeast DC. So when I was selling condos, a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, less than 1,000 square feet, they were going for $415,000. Now that value is at about
crazy.
$800,000. Yes, and that's literally in like 5 years or less. So Things change. Also, when you're in development, you know the market, you know the climate, you forecast different things, you see where people are buying, what types of things are buying, what commercial spaces are coming to that specific neighborhood. So long story short, from when I started and where I'm at now, I'm kind of in a different space, but property values are continuing to increase
exponentially. So yeah. So what's hot right now in the market, like in terms of like residential?
So people want space. Okay. Honestly, COVID hit everybody hard in different ways. A lot of people realize that they don't want to live in their box full time. So I will say that condo sales have seen a dip just because of the fact that it's not as much space for that specific price point. People do want more of a single family home. They want outdoor space, or they want covered parking. They want to deal with the
like
snow.
A backyard or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've seen row houses are hot. Trinidad, that's the next pop-in area in terms of, like my market and a lot of the clients that I work with. Again, to each his own. Whatever you're looking for, you can find something on the market that will, help out in that sort of aspect. But I would say condos have taken a dip since I started.
So what are some of the benefits of having a condo, and some of like the negatives that would cause people to switch from, wanting condos to like single family homes and things like that?
So we can start out with negatives first, because we always have to end on a high note.
Exactly, perfectly.
So negatives, that condo fee, yeah. So it can always increase depending on what the external elements call for. Let's say you need a roof replacement, or somebody's windows, or some of the materials on the outside of the building start to weather, and it's like, okay, we need to get it together. Let's say the initial landscaping company that first started with the project is no longer there. Fees go up, or their prices go up. So that condo fee is always increasing. Oftentimes in the district, you'll see condo fees upwards of $800 a month. And that's
like a rent right there. That's crazy.
So a lot of people don't like that. The advantage is if you get into a new construction condo, the fees are really low. Okay. Oftentimes it covers water, trash, sewer, landscape maintenance, snow removal, master insurance. So there's a lot of things that are wrapped up in that fee. Yeah. And it makes sense. And then when you get into new construction, the developers and the designers and the architects and this and that, they know, like they've had to literally do so much due diligence, comparative market analysis, so that they can get the money to actually build the project in the first place. So the bank will loan them money based upon forecasting the value increasing over time. So it's almost like you're getting a safe equity bet when you buy into a new construction project. Because of the fact that they already know that that neighborhood is going to increase value-wise. They can't tell you by how much. That's up to you to figure out. But that's a very strong advantage. Most condo projects that I've sold have increased by a few hundreds of thousands of dollars in less than 5 years. Wow. So, yeah.
So when you own a condo, I think I've heard that you don't own the land necessarily or something like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you just own the space with them. So, yeah. Exactly.
So how does that affect someone, like in terms of like wanting to do something else with the space?
So there are rules within, there's bylaws within your condo documents that you get, and you get to review it before you actually go ahead and purchase that property type. But it'll give you all those, rules and stipulations. Not all condos may have deck access or roof access. There might not be common space. So just read the fine print. You always have to be careful about what you're signing up for.
Yeah, you gotta read everything. Or get somebody to read it for you. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you said that the landscape of real estate has changed a lot from 2015 to 2021. And we've seen like a lot of properties are just appreciating in like a crazy way. Yes. Do you feel like we're in a bubble currently? Like, what do you feel? I've heard a lot of people say that, prices just keep going up and up and they can't go up forever. So what do you think personally is going to happen to the market in the next couple of months, in the next year or two?
Right. Okay, so this gets tricky. Everyone has their perspective. Yeah. So this belongs to me.
What's Ashley Superville's secret sauce?
Don't hold me.
You got the crystal ball.
Yes, I don't know. Let me put a disclaimer. Yes, do not hold me liable for these statements. No, I feel like DC is always in its own economic bubble. Okay. Like we have so many different industries here. We have hospitality, we have government, we have entertainment, we have your consultants, your attorneys. There's so many different types of like economy that backs different mini economies that back what we're doing, the housing market itself. So I think that property value will continue to increase just because of that alone. We don't really get hit too hard when things like that happen. Yeah. But I also know that there's a
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
But outside of like the outside areas outside of DC, I feel like there are going to be a lot of foreclosures that come onto the market. So those of us that want to purchase a property under 500,000, I think that market is going to open up because it's since closed off. We do have a housing shortage right now because of COVID. So I think if you're trying to leave the district, it will be very optimistic in terms of, you know, what elements we have available to us. But I do think that DC is one of those places. I mean, there's so many different neighborhoods. So much money has been poured in, especially during the Trump administration. I mean, he is a real estate developer. He did a lot. The wharf became a thing that was like...
I was just about to ask you about that because I drive through the wharf every day, and it's just crazy how it's just changing so much in terms of the buildings that they're building up. And it's been a lot of delays, but I think like that's a big area in terms of for real estate, for boats, for everything, for businesses as well. So I think that's a hot spot. Has the moratorium like been taking effect yet? Where like the people, can you explain the moratorium to me a little bit?
So I don't believe it's lifted yet. I'm not a lender, so I'm not going to sit here and give you all this technical advice with that. But I do believe that we will see all of these foreclosures coming to the market because of the moratorium. So I don't know. I can't answer too much.
You can't answer. Nah, I respect it. So in terms of hot spots, like if I'm an investor and I'm trying to get into real estate, what are some areas in DC that I should look for where I can get something for the low relatively and then sit on it and it'll appreciate for me?
Right. Southeast.
Okay.
Southeast. I also think, of course, I said Trinidad, Ivy City. That area is really coming up. You can see if you're trying to fix and put some, money into whatever property that you are looking for. I would say Trinidad's a great area. You can still get into something around 500,000-600,000. Put about, maybe 100,000 under 200, and then get it fixed up. So that's a great opportunity for row houses. Condos, like I said, we've seen a dip in the condo market. In condo sales, just because of all of the elements that are going on with that. So I wouldn't necessarily say if you haven't done a condo project, right now is the perfect time to do one. I think you kind of have to know what it is that you're looking for with that. But yeah, definitely would say Trinidad. Southeast, there's been a ton of flips in the Hillcrest area, in Acacia. There's so much coming. Skyland Town Center is a huge development that's in the Southeast area. That's commercial. There's a lot going on with that. So just pay attention to the big, landmarks that are coming to each area. And that really makes a difference in terms of long-term property value, it holding and then appreciating quicker.
Okay, yeah. So if I was an investor and I'm just sitting on a chunk of cash, what's kind of like the process to get into real estate investing? What do you feel like would be the best route to take to get to that destination?
Okay. Well, it really just depends on what your ultimate goal is, because what is the type of investment that you want? Ultimately, do you want to be a landlord? Do you want to do some long-term circulation? Is it like a hold? Or are you trying to just get in, get out, fix and flip, and be on your merry way? So I think just identifying how long you want to be tied into the project also determines how much capital you need to come with that. So oftentimes you don't need all the cash to do everything with that. You can get a lot of your leeway on credit. You can get a hard money loan. You then refinance after that once your flip is completed. And then you just go from there. So it really just depends. If you're sitting on some money, you want to get into it, I think you need to get with somebody that knows what they're doing so they could sit down and map you out a personal plan. I don't like it when people say, this is what you do. It's 1, 2, 3. It's never
that way.
It's never 1, 2, 3. And if somebody tells you that, they're lying. Like, it's never like that. Because even when you have your plan all completely mapped out,
go sideways, honestly. It never goes how you expect it to be. So
you're dealing with a series of unknowns. So the best thing that you want to do is try to contain it. You have a plan. You'll get, vet it out, do your due diligence, do all of those things. And then once you're involved in the project, if you have to, take a turn and divert from the initial plan, just be willing to do that. So you have to be willing to just go with the flow of the process.
Okay, got you. Where would I go for a hard money? Like, where do you find hard money lenders at?
Yes, so that you can research on your own. So there's plenty of, places you can Google. There's all types of things. There's plenty of local banks too that some do hard money. There's plenty of, it just depends on who you're working with. There's small investment groups between here and Baltimore that would be able to help you out. So that's something that you definitely do want to research. Go on YouTube. Get your
YouTube University.
Yes.
That's how you get that degree.
YT degree.
Exactly.
Yes. And just get a feel for what it is. oftentimes the interest rates are super high and people are like, they don't understand that, but it's also a very short-term loan.
So that's the benefit. You get money quick, faster than conventionally, but the interest rates are high. So if you don't flip it in time, that interest rate is just going to smack you type of deal, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And those carrying costs of holding the project will hit you every month. But you can roll in your construction costs with the acquisition of the property as well. It just has to make sense, and the profit margins can't be this big.
Tiny, because you're just eating to your profit. That's interesting.
So, but if you're looking to invest, I say definitely research the different ways, just so you have an understanding. So when you do talk to a professional, they're not explaining every single part in depth, and it's not too much to absorb in one setting.
Okay.
So I would think about like the financial aspect of it. Yes. Definitely pinpoint, do some drive-bys of certain neighborhoods that like you're interested in, you know, something's coming. Like we said, like Skyland Town Center, that's a great area in Southeast. Then I would look at contractors because that's, they can get tricky as well. So, you know, you're dealing with people and expectations and timeframes and all of that. So you definitely want to have a list of what am I doing, where am I doing, who do I want to involve, and then you can go get your consultant, your real estate agent, all those things, and put everybody down. It's a group project, literally. So map it out and then pick your pieces and then sit down and start having those meetings.
Okay, I got you. So on the tax side of things, I've heard a lot about how like through real estate, you can kind of be smart and find ways to mitigate your taxes that you're paying. And one thing that I did hear was like, if you own like a lot of commercial properties, you can kind of just keep funneling money into the next project to reduce the amount that you pay. Do you know like a little bit about that or how that will work?
Yes.
Like depreciation as well too, right?
Right. So, I mean, tax credits work in different ways.
Okay.
You can apply those to certain projects. Oftentimes that's on a larger scale. I don't really do those types of projects, so that's not really my sweet spot. But again, do your research. So when it comes to capital gains, all of that, you know, there's been a lot. DC has put a lot of like statutes in place, a lot of rules and restrictions, so that this is something that people can't abuse necessarily, but you can take advantage when it does apply to you.
Okay,
so
got you.
Very specific to what you have going on. I don't know. It just depends on the situation.
Do your research.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yes.
So I know that you help people, you help develop properties, but like on your side, on the business side, I know you're a hustler. Like, what do you do in real estate for yourself? Like, are you trying to acquire properties? Do you have properties? Like, what's your plan? What are you looking to do for the future?
Right. So in real estate, right now I have a consulting business as well. So yes, I am a realtor, but I also like to pass my friends a lot of leads. Like I'm very good at sitting down with somebody, mapping out a plan, and then getting them to the right person to go ahead and like execute whatever that plan would be. As far as the consulting side goes, I do a lot of development consulting. I also do a lot of marketing consulting. So like put events together for people. I like to network a lot and put like-minded individuals in one place. Even if it has nothing to do with real estate, you don't know where.
Likewise, I feel the same way.
Yeah, you don't know where it might take you. So, you know, that's something that's big for me. As far as in real estate, of course, I want to have like a popping portfolio. My game plan in the next 5 years is to have 30 properties between here in Baltimore. That's very aggressive for 5 years. However, I am the type of person where I reverse engineer the things that I do. So I've sat down and managed portfolios. I've gotten with the developers. I've gotten with the consultants. And I've managed other people's portfors so that I know how to structure mine to just get the highest and best use of everything I want to do. So
with those 30 doors, would you want to be the one managing them, or you kind of want to delegate, like have a property manager for those properties?
Right. I am a firm believer in let the expert do their job. And although, yes, you can save a little bit of money initially, to get the education and to understand that, you know, to make sure that you're making the best decision possible for each property, depending if it's an apartment, small scale, or if it's, you know, a condo, or if it's a duplex or a single family home. But I do want to have a professional come in there and make sure that they're managing the day-to-day.
Okay.
Of course, I want to be involved in overseeing everything, but if it makes sense, it makes sense, and you pay the people to do their job. So.
Yeah, I got you. So in terms of someone who is trying to, you know, like make some quick bread, like a year turnaround, what would you say is the best for them to do? Buy and hold, fix and flip, or do wholesaling?
Wholesaling and fix and flip.
Okay.
So wholesaling is literally you are not involved. It's a quick fix. It's wholesale. Assign the property, go find somebody. But you have to be a hustler in a wholesale, and you have to understand legal paperwork, and you really need to understand the process that you're getting yourself into, because you can get into some trouble.
Oh, okay.
So again, YT
University.
Figure that out. But you know, if you're comfortable with that and that's a familiar space for you, then I'd say wholesaling is like the quickest turnaround. Next to that would be fix and flip. You know, you get into the property, you're not going to acquire the property until you know exactly how much you're going to need to put in terms of, you know, repairs and all of that. And then if you do your market research the correct way, you'll be able to flip out of it and get a good chunk of change. So typically flips last from 3 to 6 months. Okay. So yeah, I would say in less than a year. Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of all that you're doing currently?
Wow.
What's your 5-year?
My 5-year plan in real estate. Well, I definitely like educating people about the process. So I would like to show more of what I do. Okay. You know, previously in a former life, I was very private, and people that actually know me know, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'd be so surprised. You're like a bubbly social butterfly.
No, I'm private in terms of like forward-facing marketing, but you know, whatever. But since then, I've had a few opportunities to be on different smaller scale like TV shows, some large scale. I want to do that. I want to definitely focus on the media, showing people this is the process, this is how you do it. These are some of the problems that you run into. I've had plenty of experience on site. So, you know, if I can help somebody out before they run into that brick wall, I'd rather do that. So I definitely want to pick that up. In the future, you know, continue to send people leads that I get in terms of having them service the people that I know, making sure that they're in the right place with the right people. Yeah. And then, you know, just doing different projects of my own. My life changes every year, so I can't give you a firm 5 years, but I know I'm in the industry. I'm here to stay, you know, with portfolio and helping people achieve their goals.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Give me 5 final words for the people, or just a bar or a piece of knowledge that you want to drop that people will remember you for.
I would say you don't have to do things the way that somebody else tells you to do them. Yeah. Like to they them own. Like it's not even to each his own. It's to they them own now. So literally,
I'm gonna keep going.
Right? If you want to get into real estate, good. Determine what part of real estate you want to get into, because it is a huge industry, and just do your background research, and don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to just try to take something on and just go and do it. And you just kind of have to do it and learn as you go. So I would say don't try to stick yourself in a box because somebody else wants you to be there. Like literally create your own box, because what's good for somebody else is not good for you. It doesn't work like that. Facts. So
yeah. So where can the people find you? Where can they see your content and follow you? Go ahead and plug yourself.
Right. So it's Ashley Superville. It's Ashley Supercell. That's ASHLEY SUPERSELL on IG. I'm basically on Instagram. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Or, you know, you can see my email on there, AshleySupercell@gmail.com. I work on the Share Castillo Co. team with McInerney Associates. So there's a great team behind me in terms of if anybody wants to buy, sell, or invest, you know, got everyone behind me on that. So that's just where I'm at.
For sure. That's dope. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming and sharing some wisdom with the good folks.
Yes.
Wishing you all the best.
So much for having me. Thank you.
No problem.
And likewise.
We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
The shit I make is timeless and I'm constantly reminded. From here on out, it's only pluses and it's never minus. Until they see me on their timeline, they never